All right, welcome to this Q&A. Again, I want to welcome on to this Q&A. Question came in this week, and 1 second here. And the question comes up every so often, and that is the process of conversion. Why if you're trying to contact a rabbi, let's say, or a rabbinical court, or both, why do you get the cold shoulder? Why do they not answer? Or why do they take a long time? Right? Why do they take a long time to answer? Now, some are better than others, I would say, but keep in mind, as we always say, that, plenty of Jews to work with. Plenty of Jews don't know anything about Judaism. A lot of non-Jews, even after conversion, ended up going off. I don't know the percentages. Someone asked me that this morning. I'm not really sure. I do know that even someone's accepted by rabbinical court, less than 20% actually finish the process. So a lot of people don't actually finish the process. So, people flake out for any number of reasons, whether it's money, whether they can't move, whether it's family, right? A lot of issues, right? A lot of potential issues. I do remember someone contacted me, and they said that they contacted a whole bunch of rabbinical courts. They contacted a whole bunch of rabbis. Nobody answered them except for me. So I don't know what it says about them or exactly what it says about me. First of all, people are busy. Just because someone sends an email or makes a phone call doesn't mean a person's going to call back a second later. Or 10 minutes later, or an hour later, right? That's one thing. People are generally busy, right? Keep that in mind. Second thing is, again, a rabbi of a synagogue, right? Let's say, is overworked and underpaid, right? He's gonna have at least another job, right? Because they don't normally, pay enough, to live on that. But he's got a myriad of jobs, right? Even within the synagogue, right? Funerals, weddings, education, counseling, whatever, a lot of things. People are busy. People are genuinely busy. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean they shouldn't get back to you, right? That doesn't mean you should be blown off, so to speak. But also there are certain times of the year people are busy, during the high holy days. People are busy, extremely busy, probably not going to answer you, or take a long time to get back to you, or before Passover, very busy. There are times that are more busy than others, very good, but kind of people slack here. You got to keep in mind, that it's not just people who are busy. People have certain priorities. You can only be stretched in so many directions. Now, someone's going to say this is racist, and that is, but a person had an opportunity. Rabbi had an opportunity to work with, for to learn what Jews or non-Jews. They're going to choose Jews. Makes sense. You got 13.5 million Jews don't know the alphabet. Barely know the alphabet. Barely know that they're Jewish. We're going to work on our own. Try and bring our own back. Okay, someone wants to convert. They deserve to be helped. 100% they deserve to be helped. But keep in mind, non-Jews, potential converts and converts are giving the Jewish people a bad name. No, we're not like, what I do is very strange. Yeah, but most people are not running out looking for non-Jews to bring close to the Torah. All right, maybe except for Chabad, and they're very big in teaching non-Jews and Noahide laws. Okay, and teaching them Tanya, very good, right? Very good. Yeah. When it comes to this is not being racist here. We're going to look out for our own membership as privileges. American Express, right? Membership as privileges. But non-Jews deserve to be helped. Don't get me wrong, right? No, I get you wrong. Deserve to be helped. So I'll give you a cheat note over here. And the cheat note is person made a phone call, sent an email, follow up. That's what you got to do. You got to follow up, right? It's an email a few days later. I sent you an email before. Did you get the email? Doing this, follow up. I'm not gonna say, don't, don't get in their face, so to speak, but don't contact them every second of every day. I would say every couple of days, maybe a few times a week, contact them. They don't get back to you, continue to contact them, right? Or contact other people. See who gets back to you, right? This is what you have to do. You have to have broad shoulders. If you don't have broad shoulders, then you won't get through, right? You just won't get through the process. This thing has to be the most important thing you'll ever do, right? It has to be in the front of your mind, the back of your mind. You gotta want it more than anything else. So if you want something that's hard to find, right, it's hard to go after, guess what? You gotta work for it. Person has to work for it, right? Now, that if that's the case, we're living in a very weak generation, cream puff generation, marshmallow generation, right? Whatever you want to call it. So everyone wants everything for nothing. Not only they want it for nothing, they want it to go quick. They want everything to go, yeah, you answer my question. You do this. You do. Doesn't work like that. Sorry to say. People don't say, jump. You say, how high? People have lives also. I'm not saying they shouldn't get back to you and they shouldn't blow you up. Not saying that. But you have to be proactive. These are things you got to do for yourself. If they don't get back to you, keep trying to get after them. That's what you got to do. This is part of the test. Test isn't supposed to be easy. There's good reason why it's not supposed to be easy. We're not looking for fly by night, fly by night, or so to speak. We want someone who's got broad shoulders to take whatever comes to them, whatever difficulty it is. So you say in Boston, you can't be a wuss. You gotta stand up, you gotta be proactive. Again, I'm not saying get in people's faces per se, but you gotta be proactive. You don't hear from someone a couple times a week. Contact them again. Try and call them again. Right? That's what you got to do. Now, part of the reason, again, they're busy. That's a good part of the reason. So yeah, but don't you have to turn around? Don't you have to turn away someone 3 times? Not even a point of that. They want to test you. That's part of it. That's part of it. But I hear very, very often, well, I tried this, it didn't work. Okay, so try again. But I tried it, so try a third time. Yeah, people don't want to work. People want everything done for them. It doesn't work like that. I'm not saying it has to be impossible. I'm not saying people shouldn't answer, within a reasonable amount of time, give or take. I think people want things to be easy. They want it to go smooth, and guess what? It doesn't always work out like that. It doesn't. Even if a person was Jewish trying to get a hold of someone, it's also not so easy. It's also not so easy. So whether you're Jewish or not Jewish, same thing. Say, well, they're going to work with Jews first. You're right, but if they're busy, right? They're extremely busy. What do you want from them? You got to understand work. Priorities. When they're dealing with the synagogue. So what do you expect? What in the world do you expect? They're just going to roll out the red carpet? They ain't rolling out the red carpet. But, I'll cut them some slack. People legitimately be busy. Now, they hit someone wants to, or whatever. Yeah, they may take their time. But you gotta say it's a waste of time. I'm probably not gonna cover it anyway. Yeah, probably got all kinds of other problems. All Sorry, since they have a lot of responsibility. You should be able to hear me now. Yeah. Since they have a lot of responsibility, right? So a person has to understand, right? A person has to understand. They got communal responsibility. If they have communal responsibility plus another job plus to deal with family, doesn't that mean they're busy? That means they're busy. They might be extremely busy. So you got to cut people a little bit of slack. I'm not saying they have to ignore your calls for months or for weeks, right? But we live in an instantaneous generation. This is the problem. You know, I, I've heard people say that, say that about a lot of things. So, oh, the rabbi didn't get back to me. Took him 3 days to get back to me. Well, don't you think he might have been busy? Don't you think he had other responsibilities? Maybe. Yeah, you got to think about the bigger picture. They're not blowing you off just to blow you off. Now, some people may test you. Some people may test you. Okay. I know they have an issue with that up to a point. They want to test the person's mettle, but you got to be proactive. 100%, you got to be proactive. Because if you're not proactive, you won't get anywhere. No one's going to hold you by the hand here, right? In general. People give advice, people give guidance, but the bottom line is you got to do it yourself. And if you're not going to do it yourself, you won't get anywhere. I've heard people say, yeah, I should have done this, I should have done that. Next thing I know, 6 months goes by. That can happen. That can happen. If you want it, you got to fight for it. King Solomon says in Proverbs, you want it, you want Torah, it's got to be the most important thing in your life. It's got to be worth more than, diamonds and gold and jewelry and all that. You got to want it more than anything else. King Solomon doesn't say, well, it's going to be so easy, we'll give you the Cliff Note version. It's not going to be a problem. Everyone's going to help you. Everyone's going to... He didn't say that. Not only that, anything that comes easy, is not worthwhile. Right? That's what it is. So that, I went through a reform conversion. All I had to do was read a few books. Yeah. I didn't have to keep that much, right? You want it easy, it's not worthwhile. Even though someone told me, I already paid for it. I already paid for it. Even if he knows it's not true, but I paid for it. I said, okay. So you gave money to a bad charity. You paid for it. Good. And? So, but I already paid for it. Okay. Couldn't get out of his head. Still wanted to have the piece of paper. It's not worth anything. Okay. Yeah. People have to have, you have to have broad shoulders there. And you got to have patience. Think of how much patience should I have? You have to have a lot. A lot of things can go wrong. So you're going to make a lot of mistakes. That's frustrating enough. It's hard. But again, I think part of the problem is, it takes a long time. It can take a long time. Well, let me ask, because I hear this a lot. Shouldn't have to take that long. You're right. Shouldn't have to take more than 2 years. I would agree. Do you live in a Jewish community? No. So it's going to take you a while till you move. Good. Someone contacted me and they've been taking classes, I don't know, for a couple of years, year and a half. I want to come to Israel, convert. So, someone put them in contact with me. Like I said, there's one institution here that can potentially help you. Yeah. I said, but you have to live here legally. On a tourist visa or student visa, but you only get a student visa from one place. It's only one school that's recognized by the chief rabbi. Okay. Yeah. And it's not great shakes. People come out of this place, they don't have great knowledge. But they'll convert them anyway. But, okay. So I said it's a lot easier. Stay in the States, that's where they are. Stay in the States, convert there, then come. Because if you don't have a working visa, a visa that's, you have to keep leaving the country or somehow get a work visa, because it's probably going to be very hard to get a student visa. That being the case, you got to be legal. If you're not legal, they won't deal with you. Which, being illegal doesn't have anything to do with conversion, but they don't want people coming just to, milk the government and, try and get money try and get money for the government to live here, right? That's why all these non-Jewish Russians are here. For exactly that. It's better coming here than staying in Russia. Very good. You have to get all these non-Jews that came. More than 1 million non-Jews there. That came over the last 20, 30 years. So someone asked, they said, well, is it really going to take that long? Even if I've studied that long. I said, yeah, you got to be here. They're not just going to come in and do like someone there pointing out drive-through conversion. They're not going to do that. I had somebody in the Philippines wanted to come here. They said, well, taking your class for so long because you've never lived in a Jewish community. You really taking my recommendation, whatever it's worth, for the chief rabbinate. Yeah, I could go in there, speak to them, vouch for the people. They never lived in a Jewish community. What do you think they're going to tell me? What do you think they're going to tell me? Even the person has knowledge. They're going to say, let them live in a Jewish community. Give them a certain amount of time, see what they do. And, it's going to take another 2 years? No, it doesn't have to. Depends on the person's level of knowledge. But no one's coming to Israel, even with unbelievable knowledge, unless there's certain things going on where the chief rabbi is going to welcome you and say, okay, yeah, we're going to convert you now. They want people to stay. They don't want people just to, walk through, get a conversion, and leave. There are some rabbinical courts will do it, but they're not recognized by chief rabbinate now. It doesn't mean that they're bad, which, I don't know if they want to go into this whole thing, but there are rabbinical courts you can do that. The problem is, again, your visa has to be up to date. It has to be up to date. But they don't want people milking the country just to convert. It looks bad. It looks bad. Someone say, nah, I'm the real deal and I'm this. It doesn't matter. Right? That doesn't matter. How does it look? Doesn't look good. Right? Bottom line. So again, people have to have a lot of thick skin. You have to want this more than anything else, and you got to be proactive. And don't think anyone's going to hand it to you on a platter. Now, most people would say, I don't expect it to be handed on a platter. I don't expect that. I don't expect it to be so hard either. I had someone vent to me a while ago. Also, can't believe it. Person never gets back to me. Why do you think they don't get back to you? Like anything dawn on you? Why they might not get back to you? Or they were sick. You didn't know they were sick. Yeah, but let's say they weren't sick. I just gave you 2 good reasons why they're not going to necessarily get back to you straight away. Right? And one of them is they're extremely busy. Yeah, with their own congregation, dealing with their own things. Plus work. How much time do you think they have? Right? I get it. It's annoying. And then things schlep out and it takes longer. Okay. Right? No rabbis on anyone's beck and call here. People want to help. People genuinely want to help. But it's only so many hours in the day. There's only so far you can be stretched. Like what more would you want someone to do? And what's the answer? But I want it to drag out. I get it. Makes sense. It doesn't have to drag out. But I think people lose a lot of patience, because they've been in this process for a long time. All right, now let's analyze this also for a second. Person can be in this process for a long time, and then they find out they have to move. Right? They didn't know they had to move. Or they wasted time, they didn't know they had to convert. So they wasted time that way. Good. Now they find out they have to move. Yeah, it's not so easy to move. Okay. Right? So that takes up time. But then, people shoot themselves in the foot also. I'm not talking about things they say. I'm not talking about things they tick people off so they don't want to help them. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about people just don't do what they need to do. They're not proactive enough and they waste time. And the next thing you know, 6 months gone by. 4 months have gone by, years gone by, let's say, and they're still back to square one, almost. They're not much better off than they were before. But like, what do you want? A person got to be very careful also. Certainly you're on the outside looking in. You're also got to be careful what you do and what you say. And if a person says things out of the ordinary and different things, like, there's certain criteria here. Doesn't matter if a person's born Jewish or what they do. I don't care about that. There are plenty of things Jews that are born Jews that do wrong. They say things wrong, they do things wrong, okay. Someone on the outside, they're coming in, right? All Jews are intertwined. We're all mixed together. Now, if they have quirky habits and different things, and they do things in a strange way, whatever it may be, that doesn't look good for them. I'm not saying they're not going to convert because of it. Yeah. Or if I know someone, who's got, mental health issues, and that's a whole other thing. Right? People have quirky things. Now, you have to have a certain level of mettle in order to be a Jew. You got to be strong. There are a lot of issues. If a person doesn't have kids and dealing with schooling, just fitting in from where you came from. You got to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk, dress the dress. You want to fit in. Yeah, and it's very hard for non-Jews to fit in. But you have to fit in. Yeah, so it's another thing. Right? The best advice I got, when I came here is do whatever it takes to fit into the community. You do whatever it takes because you don't want to stick out. Because if you stick out, the community will spit you out. I'm not saying it's right or not, but you want to be like the Jews. You got to act like the Jews do. You got to dress like them, talk like them. That's what you got to do. You don't want to stick out any more than you have to. You stick out, okay. It'll be much harder, right? You want to ease the process and, be part of the community as best as possible, right? And fit in. That's the most important thing, to fit in. Now, if you live in a community, a lot of different standards, dress-wise, whatever, it's easier. If you live in a certain community, dressing a certain way and different things, then you have to toe the line if you want to live there. You're not going to buck the system living there and doing what you want. I'm telling you, they'll spit you out. If you're in a place, there are a lot of different synagogues, a lot of different types, very good. Person wants to be only in a black hat community, good, so you dress the part. And if a person's going to buck the system, then don't live there. Right? And you're not going to live there. But everyone wants to have it easy. The transition's not an easy transition. Yeah. So again, the best advice I ever got was do whatever it takes to fit in. That's what you got to do. Because if not, you have problems. Right? And if you have kids, you have problems with them. And they won't fit in. And they won't get play dates. And they'll feel ostracized. The whole thing. It's a whole thing. People need guidance in this. Across the board, they need guidance. Because then they'll do things, they'll say things, and then people are going to say, like, we don't need you. Like, what are you doing here? Right? You won't fit in. They'll make you feel like you don't fit in. Now, again, I'm not going to justify that. I'm not going to say it's right, but if you don't toe the line in that community, you're in trouble. Right? If there are different types of communities, good. Then you can fit in different ways. If it's a specific type of community, you got to do what the community does. Dress the way they do, whatever. But if you're going to say, I'm going to do what I want in any community, that's a problem. Right? That's a problem, but you have to be proactive. If you're not proactive, it won't go. It will, I'm telling you, it will not go. No matter where you are. Even if you're in a place where they're more open-minded, it's more out of town, so to speak. Right? You'll fit in better. Good. Right? So that's certainly better, but you could burn bridges. People have burned bridges. Why they burned bridges? Because they did things they shouldn't have done. Say, well, if a Jew did it, he would have got away with it. No, they're not going to say that. They're already Jewish. We got to deal with them. Yeah, they're also part of the community. But a non-Jew coming in, got to be more impeccable. Sorry to say, you got to be more impeccable. Because we're not going to let just anyone join. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's perfect. I'm not saying that. Definitely not saying that. We have our own problems. Got a lot of issues amongst the Jewish people. Right? No question. But someone coming in, so you want to uphold what the standard is. Regardless of what the Jews do, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to excuse what they do. But you got to uphold the standard, the best of your ability. Otherwise, why would they take you? We have enough of our own problems. Plenty of our own problems. Someone else coming with a whole nother set of baggage. What do we need it for? We don't need it. I'm not saying you can't join. I'm not saying you can't be part of it. I'm not saying the person can't fit in, but you have to want to. You have to want to do it. I've heard people say, I shouldn't laugh. People make all kinds of comments thinking like they're going to reinvent the wheel, that they know better. Reestablish the, school system and, focus on other things and whatever. Yeah, system's successful. There's no question. Now, not everyone fits in the system. So you got to accommodate people. Not every school is going to be for every person, okay? But still have to be upstanding Jews. Still have to keep Torah mitzvahs. Still have to learn according to their ability. Now, is it perfect? No, we're not going to say it's perfect. Nothing's perfect, right? But at the end of the day, the system works. Now, could it be better? Yes. Can always be improved. But I've heard people say, yeah, we should do this, take this, make a whole revolution. You're not making a revolution. You're not making a revolution. Maybe small things, maybe. But the main things that have to be learned are going to be learned. And they're going to be taught in a certain way. That's it. Someone will say, wow, go to synagogue, you see people, spacing out during prayer. They should say fewer prayers. They should do this, do that. You got to say the prayers anyway. You say your own prayers, right? But you got to say fixed prayer. A lot of people, rabbis that fixed this prayer way back when, a number of them were prophets. So we're going to say what they say. Now, you have to be more in tune. You have to work hard at it. Very good. So isn't it better, certainly at least at the beginning, say fewer prayers with more meaning than less prayers with no meaning? Yes. But a guy's got to pray 3 times a day. He's got, you got to work at it. You got to work at it, right? So someone comes up with a great idea. Say fewer prayers will make people more into. You're not changing the system. They're not going to change the system. The system works for the most part. Can always be tweaked, but it works. We're not going to cut out half the prayer book because, people think it's just too hard to say all these prayers in the morning, whatever. And it's not going to happen. It's for sure not going to happen. So someone wants to have, a more, let's say, intimate prayers or whatever. Let's get up extra early, go to synagogue early, and say more with more intention. And say it slower. Very good. Then let everyone rush through it. You're already caught up, and very good. But to say we're going to change it, and, we're going to put this in the system, maybe take that out, it should be done. Well, you're not reinventing the wheel. You make suggestions, okay, but they're not going to change. I can tell you they're not going to change. So you can say, well, you're going to produce a whole generation of, what? What are you going to produce? You're trying to produce the best Jews you can produce. Again, is the system perfect? No. It's not perfect. Not everyone fits the system. People have learning disabilities. People have low self-esteem. There are many things take a person out of learning. And why they don't enjoy it or whatever. True. That's all true. But it's growing pains. Now, some people get destroyed by it. Okay, it's another problem. Right? A lot of issues, no solutions. Yeah, it's another issue. But, a person has to stick through it through as much as they can. Some people, they want to see things in this way. Some people want to see it that way, but the system is what it is. I've heard people say, well, change this, change that. Well, it's not going to happen. If I were doing things, well, you're not. And you're not in charge. And no one's really taking the suggestion box. So the schools are what they are. Yeah, pray every day. Yeah, a person's kids go to school and they get what they need. Gotta pray for that. It's not a given. Kid hangs out with the wrong crowd in the school, even by the most orthodox of schools, could be taken down. Could be taken down. Very bad path. Happens. Got bad eggs. Okay. But it's what it is. Need a lot of prayer here. A lot of prayer. We need for ourselves also. Because the person can say, listen, I see these people pray, and they say things a mile a minute. They can't understand what they're saying. So how can that be considered prayer? Who says it's considered prayer? The person can be sitting there going like this with their prayer book. They're not even praying. They don't even get the mitzvah of praying because they're not doing anything. Right? I'm not judging, what's in a person's heart. Right? But someone's going to say, words a mile a minute. Don't they have to think a little bit about what the words mean? Instead of doing it by rote? Yes. But don't you have an obligation to pray? Yes. So how do you find the balance? Yes. Got to find a balance. You can say the same prayers over and over. Yeah? Learn them. Learn what they mean. Go into depth. Break them down. Understand what you're saying, the very least. So they all got to change that, got to change that, got to change the other thing. Learn what they mean. And then you have more understanding. And then once you have more understanding, you won't complain. But I understand. People can't read Hebrew. It takes a long time. Yeah, I get it. So what are you going to do about it? Rip out the prayer book like the Reform does? Like the conservative movement does? Cut up prayers? You can't do that. Prophets are telling you what to say. You want to say you know better than the prophet? Then you get a screw loose. Doesn't mean you can't say your own prayers. Didn't say that. But prayers are meant to be said. They're fixed. You can always say your own prayers, but that's not the essence of what prayer is. Right? It's a voda shebalev. It's in your heart. What's in your heart? Service of the heart. Very good. Right? So if it's service of your heart, I should be able to pray what I want when I want. No. Can't pray what you want when you want. Specific things to say. Because and this is a hard thing for a lot of people, or for some people. Because there are much greater people than you that told you what to say. Prophets. You want to say you're on the level of prophet, you get a screw loose. Let me say that again, you get a screw loose. Right? If they designed and said what we have to say, you're not questioning what they have to what we have to say. You just don't understand why I have to say so much. And I was like, okay, very good. So you have a lack of understanding. Good. But this is the benefit. This is the benefit. You get an opportunity to pray. Okay. Is it something you got to work on? Yes. The Gemara already says one of the three things that need to always be strengthened. That's one of them. So someone coming from the outside, wow, way too many prayers here. Of course, that's why people go off and then, like, come on. You think that's the only reason? Is it true people are not in tune with prayer? Yes. Is it something that has to be worked on? Yes. So we shouldn't pray. Should we only pray when I'm in a good mood? When's that? Once a week? Once every other week? When I'm in a good mood? No, you pray anyway. You thank God for everything you have. Don't say, but, trying to get a hold of this rabbi and I'm getting blown up. So why should I pray? That's not an excuse. Do not make that excuse. You'll be held liable for that. I don't feel like making a blessing today because this person didn't do this. My kesher. What is the connection? You're going to be liable for that. Someone went through a trauma. Maybe it's a different issue. Yeah. But what's the connection? When you get upstairs after you die, after 120 years, God's not going to ask why this person did this and why that person did that. They're not going to ask you that. Right? No, sorry. He's not going to ask you that. God's not going to ask you that. He's going to say, why didn't you reach your potential? So look what this person did. Play back the video. Look what this person did. Good. God's going to say, you're right. I'm going to deal with them. I will take care of them. You don't have to worry. I have taken care of them. What does that have to do with you? Again, someone went through a very hard time and it had an effect. Yeah, so I'll question how God's going to look at it. Yeah, someone going to embarrass them in public and say, I don't want to have anything to do with Judaism. The person who embarrassed them in public, they lose their portion of the world to come. Yeah? So the person who was embarrassed in public, let's say they spiral out of control after that. Yeah, they get into drugs, they get into other things, they go off. Now, a person could say, whose fault is that? Whose direct fault is that? Person who embarrassed them in public. Let's say the rabbi embarrassed them in public. Right? Know of a story. Head of yeshiva embarrassed somebody, whatever reason, and that started the person down a slippery slope, and it's not religious today. Now again, that rabbi has great responsibility, sure. But the kid himself, now as an adult, is he liable for what he's done? That he's gone off? Look what this rabbi did. No, I'm not saying what he did is right. Not at all. Again, you can't judge someone, you haven't been in their shoes, okay? Right? People scream at me about that. You don't know what this person felt or what he went through. I've also been embarrassed. I also know what it feels like. Yeah? It's not a pleasant experience. But what does that have to do with your relationship to God? Right? I'll tell you something very simple, it's a very scary idea. This is a lack of emunah, some level. I'm not talking about someone who went through a trauma, right? It could be being embarrassed in public is a trauma. So maybe, throw what I say out. You can knock it out. Okay. But think about it. Think about why is that not a lack of emunah? Why can't a person say, God's trying to get this person, using this person as a stick to get to me? And then, you get embarrassed because you did something wrong. Maybe you did something egregious. Maybe. Maybe you did something that's not fitting who you are. Now, the person never had to embarrass you. Yeah? God's giving you a message. You shouldn't have done it. Whatever it is, you shouldn't have done it. Okay? Yeah? Now, it manifests itself in this way. You get knocked down, sledgehammered. Now, what happens? Now you're upset because the person sledgehammered you. Okay? Are you upset what you did? Now, if you did something that has nothing to do with you, you do anything wrong, right? Kind of get some slack. Let's say you didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong, nothing egregious. Okay? You didn't do anything wrong. And you still got sledgehammered. I hear this a lot also. People, how they grew up and what their parents did and other things. Get sledgehammered for things they didn't deserve. Let's say. Gonna bear a grudge forever? Aren't these parents maybe wackos? Maybe. They're not educated? Maybe not. You felt bad for what you did. Maybe you shouldn't have done it, okay? But let's say you didn't do anything wrong. Let's say parents just lashed out. They just got annoyed. Yeah? Can happen. Yeah, they're not wackos. Can happen. So let's say that happened. Parents don't want to show them love. Other things, like these are hard things. Okay. Does that mean a person can't serve God? They've never been shown love or this and that. So yeah, this is a hard thing to judge. Right? It's a hard thing to judge. And people say, if you didn't feel the love, how can, why is God doing this to you? Why is God being so cruel? Right? Like someone said, I'm not going to pray. Well, who are you fooling? That's just an excuse. If God's not going to do this for me, I'm out. Yeah? What's going to happen? You're liable. You are liable. So why isn't that a lack of emunah? Why is that not a lack of emunah? I hear all the time people make excuses. Now, some of them are legit. Some of them are 100% legit. Yeah? Why do so many people I hear live in the past? They live in the past. Things happened. Yeah? They could be tragic. Not saying not. If that's the case, you need therapy to deal with it. But no one's going to say living in the past helps you. Yeah? It took me a long time to realize this. Long time. Way too long. And that person's in your head or people or whoever. And they're in your head for no reason. For no reason. And again, let's say what they did was wrong. Let's say what they said was wrong and they put you down and this and that. Okay, I go big. They're going to take them seriously. They're wackos. In spiritual terms. Totally wackos. Now, I'm going to say because this happened, or someone said this. Okay, you could have a lack of self-esteem. True. Very, very true. But let me ask you the $1.5 million question. What does that have to do with your relationship to God? This rabbi doesn't call me back. This base doesn't get back to me. That's it. I'm out. Okay, so don't convert. So don't convert. We're not looking for converts. We don't need you. You want to convert? Very good. Right? But because someone did something or said something or this, they could make a desecration of God's name. Good. They could be, not good people. Good. What does that have to do with your relationship to God? So I'll tell you a story happened to me. Yeah, I sat in the rabbinical court, my Rabbi, for 5 years, once a week. So I got to see all these cases come in. Right? All of these cases, I can ask him anytime. Why'd you go like this? Not like this. Or why'd you answer like this? Whatever. So, this is the rabbinical court where, all other Orthodox Jews go. Chief rabbin and anyone can go off the street. Right? You can have, secular people, who knows what. This is the rabbinical court all ultra-Orthodox Jews are going to go to, right? So he told me, a certain case came in, or a certain number of cases, like one after another one day, came in, really like, people admitting they stole, they lied, whatever, like, big hats, long coats, etc. Right? No embarrassment. No embarrassment at all. Yeah? Maybe the only embarrassment is, they got caught, but otherwise, no embarrassment. Rabbi said to me straight up. He didn't say, oh, you became religious, look at what religious people do. He didn't say that. He said it's a good thing you have a connection to me. Right? Because if you don't have a connection to me and that I can set you straight, you can ask me whatever you want, I can set you straight. He said, if it wouldn't be for that, you look at what's going on and you say, what's the point? This is what God wants? This is what God wants in his world, and how Jews should act? No. Not at all. But we can't make excuses. Because someone said something or did something, again, this marshmallow generation, I'll quote you, marshmallow generation, we're going to be a bunch of wusses, can't answer for anything, one little thing, that's it. Right? Again, it could be a major thing, okay. Because someone did something or said something, that's nothing to do with your relationship to God. Just the opposite. If God's trying to give you a message, and they're using this disgusting person to do it, and they're giving you the message, well, isn't it true? Looking at the person sending you the message, isn't it true it's a lack of emunah? It's a lack of emunah. Essentially, it's a lack of faith and belief in God, that he runs the world. So if that's true, you're going to say, I'm going to spit in God's face. I don't care. Look what you did. He didn't do it. You did it. You did it. You just didn't get the message. Right? That's a problem. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not trained as a psychologist. Anyone who's been through a trauma, okay, got to deal with the trauma. And sometimes dealing with the higher being and trauma don't go together. Maybe it's just too hard. Right? Maybe. I'm not talking about, it depends, no one wants to be embarrassed in public. No one wants to be made fun of. But if a person got belittled by an Orthodox Jew, you're going to say, I'm not going to convert and spit in God's face? You don't have to convert. Very good. But what does that mean? That means you're a cream puff. That's what it means. Just because someone said something, someone told me, they're in an Orthodox community, more modern community, and someone made a disgusting comment. And they basically said, well, you're not even Jewish. Why are you doing this, that, and the other thing? Yeah, there's a put down. It's a serious put down. They're going to say, God, why'd you send this person to me? I'm not going to make blessings anymore. God's going to say, what are you, an idiot? This person's an idiot, what they said. They're wrong. It's a Torah prohibition, what they said. Torah prohibition. You're not going to make blessings because this person was transgressed the Torah prohibition? If I were God, that's what I would ask the question. What does that have to do with anything? Just because they said it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. We're very fragile. Very, very fragile. But keep in mind, if you spit in God's face because someone did something or whatever, God's going to say, I didn't want you to do that. You took it way too far. God gets blamed for everything, someone told me the other day. Yeah? Gonna blame God for everything. What's the good? No good. No good in the world. Nothing. But people make excuses. They make excuses. Now, hopefully God's gonna have compassion on this. A flesh and blood king would not. We would not. At some point, we'd say, get over it. Just get over it somehow. Or I know someone, got bad business advice, still angry. 30 years later. 25 years later. Let's say. Still angry. You got bad advice, okay? God wiped them out. Okay? Get over it. I understand. They got left holding the bag. There was no empathy. I get it. It's annoying. It's annoying. But someone who's got a 25 IQ in these type of things, in spirituality, and can't show any compassion, and you were on your knees, isn't that painful? Wouldn't you say that was painful? Come on, nod your head. You would say that's painful. Yes, it is. But if someone decides someone deserves to be turned upside down, put in a white jacket, be sent to a psych ward in Sing Sing. Is that what they deserve? It's exactly what they deserve. Why going through it is painful. But if you already understand, you see the bigger picture, you hang these people to dry. People are nothing. Less than nothing. Yeah. Now, maybe it's a cruel thing to say. Someone who can do that, someone who can be so apathetic, not one compassionate bone in your body, I get it, it's painful. Definitely get it, it's painful. What would a psychologist say? What would a psychologist, I'll put on my psychologist hat here. What would a psychologist say? Psychologist would say, you have to separate what they said. You have to separate what happened and what they said. What happened was above nature, shouldn't have happened, right? Yeah, okay, it was bad business advice. Shouldn't say above nature. You got bad business advice, okay. Start again. You build again. Yeah, but it's not fair. It's not fair what they did. They didn't show any empathy. This was family. It's painful, right? So what would a psychologist say? They would say, yeah, you're right, that's cruel. What would you rather have happened? You'd rather, not that they gave you money, get you started again something else, which they could have, let's say. You want a pat in the back. You want a hug. You want to hear it's going to be okay. You want to hear, I feel bad for what happened to you. That's what you want to hear. They didn't hear that. And they ain't never going to hear it. Not for many, some of the people aren't alive anymore, but they're never going to hear it. So sometimes, and it's a hard thing, right? But sometimes the person has to realize in this journey, whether it's a Jew or it's a non-Jew, right? Whether it's a Noahide, even as a Noahide or a JIT, a Jew in training, you're going to get a lot of flack from family, from friends, from the community. Yeah, you're going to be put down. I'm not saying it has to happen. Probably will happen at some point, right? So, what's the idea here? The idea is, by some people, and this is a terrible thing to say, some people, you just expect nothing. You'll get nothing. Not a pat in the back. Not that, oh, that's so interesting. Whatever. I'm so glad you're on this journey. No. I expect nothing. Whatever you get is a bonus. I hate that. But, right? That's what it is. That's what it is. And even from family, the people you want to share the most with, there's no one there. There's nobody there. Just get a lot of flack. Now, is that painful? Sure. If you have a close relationship, it's painful. If you have less of a relationship, less painful. But, don't you know what's going to happen to them in the end? Yeah. Is there anything we can do about it? No. They don't want to listen. Yeah. All they do is want to make fun and be cynical and this. Okay. I always say, I could use a lot of these things like I need another hole in the head. And I don't need it. People make fun. People this, that. Oh, look, you should have done this, should have done that. Everyone's a Monday morning quarterback. Okay. But isn't it true? Someone's apathetic, you're on your knees. Family should have been there for you and they weren't. That's painful. It's for sure painful. Anyone who's ever gone through it's painful. But in the bigger scheme of things, even when it was difficult, don't you understand? These people are dimwits. These people don't know nothing from nothing. Spiritual terms. You can't expect something to do something if they're not a vessel to do it. Right? So someone, it's got family, they see the mother, grandmother like once a blue moon for a lot of different reasons, which which makes sense, but they're not in their world. They won't do what the grandmother does. They're doing this, come, say, whoa, this, that, be there for the day and leave. Now, why would they do that? They want to be around the person. Okay. Still a mother, still grandmother. Right? Right? So you got to play the game on their terms. And if you don't play the game on their terms, you won't have a game. So what do? You go there once. Go there once in a blue moon, stay for the day, whatever, and that's it. You could have a relationship if you wanted to. Right? You'll see. Person doesn't speak about anything. There's this. Okay. Very good. That's not the Jewish way. Jewish way is trying to have a relationship anyway, possible. Because they're your mother, they're grandmother. You got an obligation. So you try and maximize it. Now, again, there are people easy to work with, less easy to work with. Not when someone's, evil and they don't other things. Okay. You got to realize who they are. You got, and you play their game. Now, is playing their game fun? Probably not. Yeah. But if you play their game, they'll get the benefit and you made them happy. What did you do for yourself? Okay, it was hard. Okay. But you did what you had to do. Gave them nachas. Gave them enjoyment. Right? Or you can say, I'm not playing the game. I'll see you once a year. Maybe we'll go out for dinner. That's it. One day. That's it. You do that. Is that honoring a parent or grandparent? No. People say, but they do this, they do that, they don't say that. You're right. A lot of issues. A lot of issues I'd agree. 100% I would agree. But if you don't have that relationship, guess what? You don't want to play that game? That's what will happen. That's exactly what will happen. Right? That's exactly what will happen. Yeah, question. Take a few questions here. 1 second. Someone asked how authoritative the Shulchan Aruch. 100%. 100% authoritative. Yeah. Shulchan Aruch, Code of Jewish Law, is Rabbi Yosef Karo, right? And a lot of times, many, many times, it goes exactly like the Rambam, right? It's Sephardic tradition. So, for Moshe Isser, has commentary. The Mishnah Berurah has a commentary. It's for Ashkenazim. Is it authoritative? Yes, 100%. 100%. Is it rigid on anything flexible? It depends what it is. Right? You can't make it, statement. Some things that, more stringent, less stringent. Covers everything you need to know. Blessings, kashrus, family purity laws, marriage, divorce, laws of damages. Code of Jewish Law covers a lot. Covers everything you need to know, right? I'm not going to go, whatever. Some things more rigid than others. Yeah, it could be, but again, it's the case-by-case basis. Some things are more stringent or less stringent, but, it's case-by-case basis. It's like asking, okay, you got all these laws, all these commentary. Which ones are more stringent than others? Okay, maybe some things will come off the top of my head, maybe. Right? But in general, it depends what it is. It depends what it is. That's what I would say. Someone here mentioned, so much to be grateful for. There's so much to change, right? Right. But again, how do we look at what other people say or do? That's the question. That's the question. Some people get paralyzed and, could destroy them. And they say, well, guess what? I'm not going to pray or this, not because this happened. Hypothetically, I love these hypothetical questions. Yes. I don't worship statue in neighbor's garden. No, I'm allowed to pray and sing in the parents' home garden. If you're not facing it, yeah. If you wouldn't be facing it, you could. Right? You're not praying to it, right? Just make sure you're not facing it. Right? If you're not facing it, then you can sing and praise God as much as you want. Right? Even if you're looking out to the garden and you were singing God's praise, is that forbidden for Noahide? No. Wouldn't be forbidden. Would not be forbidden. Somebody asked, does granddaughter The granddaughter of the survivor have to convert if she's raised Christian. If their mother was Jewish, then no. Right? If their mother was Jewish, no. If they would have proved the mother was Jewish, then yeah, they'd have to go through a conversion. But in general, they would have to. They wouldn't have to convert. They wouldn't have to convert. Someone asks. One second. Can people still walk with the Shem and not know death? Nope. Everyone's gonna die. Right? I hate to break it to everybody. You're all gonna die. We are all gonna die. Right? Adam and Eve ate from the tree. Only a handful of people didn't. First of all, there's only a handful of people that died because Adam and Eve ate from the tree. Right? You have 4 or 5 people that died only because Adam and Eve ate from the tree. They didn't sin. Right? And only a few people that actually went up to heaven, alive, or went into the Garden of Eden alive. Right? Only, that's it. Everyone else dies. Right? Basically, everyone else dies. Right? No one gets through this life without death. Certainly half the time in the prophets, nothing to talk about. Right? There were certain people. And Elijah, went up went up to heaven and in a fiery chariot or whatever. Right? And a few other people, but death is going to be for everybody. Right? It's not gonna change. Right? 2 things guaranteeing life: death and taxes. Right? Not necessarily in that order, but death is guaranteed. Will be guaranteed. Right? A person given 120 years, they're not going to get more than that if they would live that long. Right? But everyone's going to die. It's not going to change. The only question is that the person dies. Right? They're going to get judged, and then when does the Messiah come, and what era is of the resurrection of the dead, and all that. So okay, that's the whole discussion. That's the whole discussion. Difference of opinion. Do you believe the Holy Spirit? Nope, we don't believe in it. Idolatry. Right? The whole thing is idolatry. God can't. If God is everywhere, is omnipotent, and He's everywhere, right? Where's the Holy Ghost? Where's that part of Him? Right? And how can He make Himself into a man? Like that also doesn't make any sense, right? But that's definitely a Christian thing, and that is definitely idolatry. So it says I read some things about capitulation of the word junk, okay, whatever. Yeah, any other questions here? Grandparents are Jewish. Again, even if they're raised as a Christian, if the grandparents are Jewish through the mother, yeah, then it's not a problem. If they're only Jewish through the father, that's a problem, right? It has to be through the mother. Someone here says, we think maybe Yitzhahara put some idol worship. There are places, keep in mind, there are places where, they have churches all over. Churches all over. Now, could a person pray? Let's say a Jew has to pray towards the east, right? East meaning towards Israel, towards Jerusalem. Very good. What if towards east means you're looking straight at a church? Yeah, is that a problem? Right? So again, maybe pull the shade down so you don't have to look at it. But theoretically, is that a problem? No. You're not praying to it. Right? That's not an issue. Someone asks, no, I'm allowed to pray outside or inside. Doesn't matter where they pray. Jews also. It's better to pray, in a fixed place. Certainly in a synagogue, but can we pray anywhere outside? Sure. Happens a lot sometimes. A person goes on a trip somewhere. You get 10 Jews, pray outside, or pray, somewhere. Pray in a room, whatever it is. You don't have to have a fixed place. Right? It's better to have a fixed place for sure. But for non-Jew, for sure not. You can pray anywhere, right? But again, if you got to pray in a place where there is idolatry and there is immorality, there is, let's say, people not dressed properly, yeah, that's a problem. That would be a problem. And I would say even for a non-Jew. I would say even for a non-Jew would be a problem. But you can't read Torah outside. Why not? Why can't you read Torah outside? See plenty of people, you see plenty of pictures of the great rabbis, last generation, when they went on vacation, wherever they went, some people went to Switzerland, other places, or, they went to, bungalow colony, let's say New York and upstate New York, wherever, you see them wearing outside. So what's the problem? The only problem learning outside is distraction. That's the only issue. But for some people, it doesn't give them distraction. Yeah. You get a lot of people running around this and that. Yeah, it's a problem. But if you're there to relax or whatever, so yeah, why not? It's not a problem. If you're learning in a place where a lot of people are not dressed properly and this and that, yeah, then it would be a problem to learn outside for sure. For sure. Some people feel like I don't think where it's boiling hot. It's coolish. It's not so hot. Then the air makes a person think differently. So yeah, it's definitely not a problem. In that sense, again, if there were bad odors, there was people not dressed properly, that'd be an issue. That would be an issue. We can't read Torah outside or after midnight. No, why not? The best time to learn Torah is at night. Is at night. The whole thing about saying Tehillim at night, saying Psalms at night, that's a different issue. That's a different issue. But not everyone holds that. That's forbidden. Some people do and hold this very strong prohibition. They shouldn't say Psalms at night. Other people say no. All right, I'm going to stop there. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Mark Chaim Koppen, Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com. Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on the Torah portion of the week, Q&As, ethics for our fathers. You want to send me an email, rabbichaimkoppen@gmail.com, Rabbi, RABBICHIMCOFFMAN at gmail.com, which I'm in good beginning of the day, middle of